Samim tells me that whenever I speak on Gandhi, there's a team which is against me and will start trolling me on Gandhi. And so I guess a lot of people are anti-Gandhi these days. In fact, I'm told that younger generation is generally anti-Gandhi, questioning Gandhi a lot. I was also one of them. I'm writing a book called Gandhi Ki Khoj Mein. So my journey with Gandhi. And Gandhi, I earlier thought, cannot be a great man. You know, this man was never in the village. He never lived in village. But he talks of village society. Isn't it? He never read Indian intellectual tradition. He read Gita in England, in English, but talks of Gita. He was never a farmer, but talks of peasants. So what is this kind of person? What is the problem? So I thought that maybe he is a very astute politician. He knows fairly well how to mobilize people, how to capture their mind. But of late, I started engaging with Gandhi. As a Marxist, when I was in Delhi University, I had a professor who made a very interesting statement. He was a very famous Marxist professor. Your generation may not be knowing him, Professor Randhir Singh, who used to be a student activist in Lahore and worked with Gandhi. And he said that I'm the only person who has engaged with Gandhi. So somebody asked him, is Gandhi a liberal? Is Gandhi a Marxist? Is Gandhi relevant today? His reply was very interesting. That intrigued our mind at that time. He said Gandhi was neither a liberal nor a Marxist, therefore he is very relevant today. And that is what I am going to argue today, that Gandhi is beyond these political categories. And when we are reinventing Gandhi, what we have done with Gandhi is that we have studied Gandhi in a political category. I think language is fine, or do you want me to switch over to Hindi?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So, what we have done with Gandhi is, and that's why we need to reinvent probably, that we look at Gandhi only in the historical context. So the moment Gandhi comes, we have memory of other thinkers, then compare Gandhi with them, sometimes with Savarkar, sometimes with Ambedkar, sometimes with Subhash Chandra Bose, sometimes with Bhagat Singh. And then start saying, नहीं, उस गांधी ने ये नहीं किया, गांधी ने वो नहीं किया, गांधी ने भगत सिंह को बचाया नहीं, गांधी ने सुभाष बोस को प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं बनने दिया, गांधी ने पटेल को प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं बनने दिया. All those things will start coming to us. Why I am saying reinventing? You know, Indian national movement, what the most creative movement in human history, one of the most creative moments in human history. Human beings have the reflexive capacity to create new ideas, and that they do when they are in crisis, when they are in struggle. So every such struggle produces new ideas. Like French Revolution produced new ideas. What Europe did with French Revolution? You may not be knowing about Rousseau's personal life unless you read his autobiography, which is Confession, which is horrible in a sense. I mean, he's very honest, like Gandhi is very honest. But otherwise, you don't know about them, their personal life. So what you did with the ideas, you extracted those ideas and converted into very vibrant theories that governed the world for centuries. That did not happen with Indian national movement. They produced a lot of ideas, but those ideas were always only seen in that context. So there's a big debate between Ambedkar and Gandhi, or Tagore and Gandhi. But the moment you talk of the debate, you talk of two personalities. And either you are in favor of Gandhi or against Gandhi, and then you start engaging in the debate. You don't try to extract the points in debate and then move forward from there. You don't do that. How this debate generated absolutely a new idea how to reorganize your society. Or Tagore and Gandhi debate. Nobody will talk about how this debate was about how to look at society, how to engage with human beings. Instead, they will say, no, Tagore was a Bengali, he was a Gujarati, and there was no good relationship. So I think why I'm saying reinventing is that we have to really get out from this context. So I call it decontextualize and recontextualize. First, decontextualize. Let's for some time leave this business of writing history to historians. And the philosophers and social scientists or political scientists should access Gandhi for other reasons. Like social scientists, I always say, who could be a better social scientist than Gandhi? You know, what did he do? He came to India, didn't have much idea about India, and he was told by Gokhale कि पहले समझो इंडिया क्या है. For whole year, he kept on moving in different parts of the country, kept on understanding what India is. And then he came back and he changed his life. He changed his dress. He changed his very idea of habitation from a family to an ashram. So he learned as a social scientist, and the idea was to transform India. So his social science was not administrative social science. It was transformative social science. At the moment, the social science that we are doing is administrative social science. What is our climax of imagination? That as a social scientist, we are invited by the state to give a policy suggestion to the state. So I think when I was in JNU, a lot of professors had this dream to become member of the planning commission. And they were very happy about being member of the planning commission. That's the climax. But Gandhi was not like that. He left his everything to mobilize people. Ambedkar was not like that. Nehru was not like that. All these people were transformative social scientists. Simultaneously, they were great philosophers. Akhil Bilgrami has very interesting article called Gandhi as a Philosopher. The only person who started this debate that we should look at Gandhi as a philosopher. Otherwise, Gandhi in the West also was only historically read. So if you read anything on Gandhi, it will start giving you chronology of what he did, when he did, and how he mobilized. Not that the philosophical point that he made. So when I'm saying reinventing, all of us should engage with Gandhi differently. Reinvent for ourselves. If you're a philosopher, you can reinvent Gandhi as a philosopher. If you are from literature, you should reinvent Gandhi as a person who is writing so much of literature. What kind of? If you are a communication theorist, look at this man, the capacity to communicate. I never forget that moment in 1947 when he is going to attend Prarthana Sabha and people were shouting, जिना को गिरफ्तार करो, जिना को गिरफ्तार करो. बहुत जोर से आवाज़ आ रही थी. And Gandhi reaches there and says, yes, zina has to be arrested. And he emphasized, zina has to be arrested. And everybody was silent. Then he said, but I don't have police, I don't have military, how to arrest zina? But I can also arrest zina. I can arrest zina in my heart. And things were transformed. 5,000 people, 6,000 people sitting there, they all transformed. Look at the man's communication skill. I mean, I'm sometimes amazed. How could this happen? That without social media, Gandhi could reach to a village of Farinishnath Renu's novel, Mailachal, Vaman Das. The man died for Gandhi, who had no hope to become Prime Minister of India or even an MP or MLA. But how could he, I call it cloning. How could Gandhi clone people? So many Gandhi clones you could see. How could he do that? How could he communicate that? So he's a great communicator. So I think this is a time when we need to reinvent Gandhi for ourselves. Gandhi is also needed to be reinvented for movements. I'll come to that point. That how movements are reinventing Gandhi all over the world. So this is the first point. Reinventing Gandhi. What could be our method of reinventing Gandhi? I think one single thing is, don't read Gandhi. That doesn't literally mean don't read Gandhi. Means engage with Gandhi. Don't adore Gandhi. Don't start admiring Gandhi. Fight with him. Reading and engaging are two different acts. So engage with him. Imagine that he is there and you are quarreling with Gandhi. Every reading of him, you should not accept anything. Engage with him. Talk to him. Tell him that you are wrong. But one precondition is there. The precondition is, I call it thinking through him. Thinking through him. Owning his project. Gandhi has a project. If you own Gandhi's project and then struggle with him, fight with him, you will really enjoy. What was Gandhi's project? What was Gandhi's project? It was not only Indian national movement. He always shifted his goalpost. So you will find that Gandhi is talking about liberation of movement, liberation of Indian nation, liberation of humanity. At times he would ask for liberation of a very small crowd, small number of people. So his main concern was, and that's a very big project, and that we should try to own at this moment of history. Why we should try to own that project at this moment of history, I'll tell you. Even we should do a thought experiment of this kind, that own his project for some time, for a year or two, and see how that changes your thought process. That is, the project is universal human liberation. Liberation of human beings, not of only Indian. So decontextualize Gandhi from what you call Indian national movement and treat him somebody who is contributing to a big discourse, what is called discourse on human liberation. And this is ongoing discourse. I think if you look at the history of humanity, there were people and people who have contributed to the discourse of human liberation. From their own vantage points, don't expect them to create a philosophy beyond their limits, time and space, that limits everybody in their thinking. We all know that. But while creating something very contextual, they also create something very universal. That is why we read Plato and Aristotle and all of them. Their context was very limited. But what the ideas they created at the time are still relevant and relevant for human beings in future. Similarly, these thinkers like Gandhi or Ambedkar and all, I think they were speaking from their own context, from their narrow context, fighting for certain kind of liberation of their own people, but simultaneously they were creating new ideas, new philosophies, and that was for humanity. So when I'm saying reinventing Gandhi, we need to reinvent from this angle. Engage with Gandhi, think like Gandhi was thinking, own his project, read him critically, reject him if needed, use his method, move on, create a new idea. Don't become a Gandhian. No need to become a Gandhian. In fact, nowadays, no need to become even a Marxist or Gandhian or anything. Because all great philosophies have failed to provide us or are failing to provide us how to move on. I'll come to that point. So this is first point I want to make, that reinventing Gandhi. We need to reinvent Gandhi. Now how this reinvention could be very important for why Gandhi matters for us even today. Let me begin by suggesting about the time that we are passing through. What is this time? I call it ontology of the contemporary. I want to understand the contemporary moment. How do you understand the contemporary moment? I think people from social sciences always remain very backward. They only tell you something when something is already has happened. They are not able to tell us what might happen in future. Philosophers, of course, they can, but they are also too much bothered about nuanced things than to tell us what is the nature of this moment, what is the nature of our time, what's happening here. So I moved on to literature and tried to conduct a survey of literature all over the world in different languages. I'm not a person from literature and don't know so many languages. So my tool was very simple. Went to the internet and try to find out which particular novel is being popular today, bestseller novels in different literatures. You know what I discovered? Something gave me some clue about what is the problem that we are facing today. In today's world, across different languages, different countries, different societies, you will find dystopian literatures becoming very popular, bestsellers. You pick up any language, any award, you will find dystopian literatures are so popular. In fact, some of the novels written in 1975 or so, they are being reinvented today, reprinted. That time it was a flop, big flop. Now people are going back to that and reading them again. So I say that we are passing through what is called dystopian time. Our time is a dystopian time. It's a time of uncertainty. I mean, our generation once got a job, became very certain. Till retirement, nobody can throw us easily. New generation of young scholars I am seeing, they are not sure how long they have the job. And they are being conditioned gradually. In fact, the latest batch which is getting job now, when I am talking to them and telling them, oh, I am feeling bad that you don't have a permanent job. He says, no, I don't think permanent is a good idea. So they are imbibing that idea now gradually. They are thinking that this is the way of life, this is how we can go. So this is a time of uncertainty. This is a time of uncertainty and many more things. Let me explain 2-3 things for you, which I after that started innovating or finding out. The first major thing that is happening to us is crisis of capitalism. And what is the nature of the crisis? The philosophers can easily understand that. The crisis is not economic. The crisis of capitalism is very philosophical. What is philosophical crisis of capitalism? Any system to sustain itself will have to have a philosophy of its justification. How do you justify this system? So capitalism had a justification, wonderful justification. And there were 2 points in that justification. One, a long poem that came, Beehive, before Adam Smith wrote his book, Wealth of Nations and Moral Sentiments. The title of the poem was very interesting. And the poet did not dare to write his name on the poem. And the title was, Greed is Good. Greed is good. लालच अच्छी चीज है. उससे पहले हम लोग ये जानते लालच बुरी बला है. But he wrote, greed is good. And Adam Smith built entire theory on the basis of this idea that human beings are greedy. If you provoke their greed, they will work more. If they work more, then they will produce more. If they produce more, then the second principle was that of common good. That the wealth that we are creating is not for individual, but for common good. These were the 2 philosophical bases of modern capitalism. I don't want to go into detail about how Locke justified private property. You all know about that. You will find that by the first time this capitalism went into crisis, that is 19th century, mid-19th century, then the new theory came. The theory was that we have to civilize the world. The crisis of capitalism is due to non-integration of other parts of the world into capitalism. Therefore, we have to move out from our own country, take this new structure of production process to other countries, and we have to civilize them. You very well know the mission was not civilizing but colonizing people. So we were colonized and we were told we are civilizing. And we accepted that we were civilizing for a long time. At least in India, unless Dadabhai Naroji told us that your wealth is being drained, we all thought that we were being civilized. So that was the first moment of crisis. The second moment of crisis came after World War I. And then it was said that look, unless you start emphasizing on common good, the system will not survive. Therefore, you have to reinvent a philosophy of welfareism. So no matter you accumulated the wealth you have accumulated, but use it for the common good. The common good remained a very, very guiding principle in that. But the third crisis that happened in the 70s, that time things started changing. Philosophers of economics, Hayek and Friedman, they were advisors of Reagan and Thatcher. They wrote very interesting books saying that, what is this common good? The common good is not wealth, it is freedom. So what we should do is, we should emphasize on individual freedom, freedom of choice. So common good from being material thing became very abstract thing called freedom. And we were sold. We all bought in the name of freedom. Only of late we realized that we only had freedom to buy things. We didn't have money. Or if we have money, our money is extracted by that choice. So market is growing. Market became the biggest powerful thing. So we abandoned the idea of common good actually by putting non-material thing as common good. In fact, at that time, during Thatcher's regime, the Catholic Church in England published a booklet called Common Good and argued that system should now recognize that it is not working for common good. It has to work for common good. But the worst crisis and the worst response came very recently when there was a major economic crisis in the 80s. You all know about those crises. And then committees were constituted. Amartya Sen was also part of the, 2008, not 80s, 2008. Amartya Sen was also part of that committee. And you know what the report said? I went through most of the reports, and there's a common argument available in most of them. That is, the crisis was due to human greed. So greed is the biggest problem. Until COVID happened, people thought that we cannot get rid of the greed. Only after COVID somebody wrote a very interesting book called Greed is Dead. However, we all recognized that instead of dying, greed has become much more powerful. So the system that we are having now, capitalism, has no common good, only greed. And greed has become much more powerful. So there is no justification for this system. And that's the philosophical crisis. But the worst thing is yet to come. The worst thing is, till now when the capitalism was in crisis, there was a pressure from below. Because you needed human beings for production. So there was much pressure, labor unions. After 2008, the capital has realized that human force can be reduced. And therefore they are investing more on AI and robotics. So we may not be needed. According to one estimate, US will have more than 50% unemployment very soon. You can already see the symptom. I think Trump is not the cause of the problem. He's a symptom of the problem. He's a consequence of a problem. Because the kind of manpower needed for running an industry, we don't need that. I'm told in Maruti production in India, for producing 5 cars, you needed 35 people for 35 minutes. And now you need 5 people for 5 minutes. So there will be overproduction and we will be thrown out from the market. What's happening in the universities all over the world, you must be watching that. It is a consequence of onslaught of technology also. So there's a big problem that we are going to face. We had a creative theory colloquium on technology, very interesting discussion happened there. There's a related thing to that. So if people are out of job, what will they do? Either you give them bare minimum income, or they will be mobilized. There will be movement, isn't it? How will the state deal with that? I think the state is also emerging as what you call techno-authoritarian state. The new state, I'm not talking only of Indian state, the new state all over the world, the new modern capitalist state all over the world is techno-authoritarian state. The state has all data about us. Whatever I'm speaking here, whether it's recorded or not, if my mobile is there, you all know that it's listening. And you all have experience. First time it came as surprise, now it is normal. That is, you talk about some item to be bought, and next time you get the advertisement on your Facebook. So the big brother is there watching you. So no one of us can be kind of secretly doing anything. The state is watching us very carefully. In fact, now the state is doing it very bluntly. If you are going for an appointment anywhere in the world, you are going for visa for US, before you reach there, you are already there. They will screen all your Facebook and everything, and if they find that you are not appropriate for that, you have said even a single statement against Trump, you lose your visa. Surprisingly, a friend of mine came from US, a professor, and we did things together, so I knew him fairly well. So I asked him to give an interview on what is happening in US. And he was radical enough to give a wonderful interview. After a couple of days, I sent him the interview and asked him, would you like this to be put on YouTube? You have to go back also. And he is already a professor in US, a citizen of US. You know what he said? Hold it. You never know if on the airport I will be told you can't go there. I mean, can you imagine somebody writing on Hindi public sphere is asked to go back from airport? This is not individual. Please remember, I'm not talking about a regime. I'm talking about the system. System is very important. The system itself is changing. No matter who owns it, who controls it, you will find that everybody will be doing the same thing. The system has very powerful logic. So this is what is happening today. Now, what is the way out? Which philosopher, and the third thing, maybe last thing I'll say. Acute alienation. Acute alienation. You must read a novel, one of the most favorite novels, I keep quoting that, Michel Houellebecq, called Atomized, a French novelist. Wonderful novel, 2001 novel, suggesting how in France people are living like atoms. Here is a human genome scientist who says that things will become worse than this. So we are atomized, we are constantly being atomized. I will come to this point again. How can Gandhi help us in this? We are constantly being atomized, and therefore alienation. And therefore France and England have ministries of loneliness. India is not having a ministry of loneliness as yet, but every morning when I go to drop my wife, I hear this advertisement, आपको ऐसा ऐसा हो रहा है तो mental health के डॉक्टर से मिलना चाहिए. And 1 out of 2 people today suffering from mental illness. And somebody like me who claims I'm not having any stress, probably I'm also having deep stress. So we all are stressed. This is the new situation that we are in. So this is the moment, this is the ontology of the contemporary I'm talking about. This is the time we are living in. Let's understand this is the time we are living in. Maybe one more point I would like to make is that this is the time when it is very difficult to live together. Live together as individuals, live together as community, as family, as nation state, as humanity. Living together is a big problem today, very big problem today. So this is the contemporary time, this is the moment. You may disagree with my formulation at the moment. It looks very dystopian, but this is not my formulation. I've arrived on this conclusion after reading so many novels all over the world that they are also reflecting the same thing. Look at Hindi novels. Very interesting novel by Purushottam Agarwal, Hindi professor, called Nakohas. And I always keep telling him, we have almost predicted what is going to happen to us. NACOAS means National Commission for Hurt Sentiments. And now we are every time hearing on TV that due to your statement, my sentiment is hurt. And therefore there's a big violence. So that is what is happening. This is the ontology of the contemporary. Who is the philosopher who can help us in this movement? Let me know. As philosophy students, who would you like to approach, who can help you in this? I mean, I can take 3 hours telling you whom all I tried to approach and why I got frustrated, including Karl Marx. So I think one of them probably, maybe one person will not be able to help us. Maybe we have to have many people together. Maybe, as I say, the Prasthantrayi for today's world could be Marx's Communist Manifesto, Ambedkar's Annihilation of Caste, and Gandhi's Hind Swaraj. These are the Prasthantrayis. Anybody who wants to think of new world, new utopia, in this dystopian world, if you are imagining a new utopia, I think these 3 texts can help you. They are not only these 3 I'm saying. There could be many more, I'm sure. We keep on looking for many more texts, but we have to do that. This is the moment when we have to rethink of new utopia. Human beings can't survive for long with dystopia. They will work for new utopia. So one of them, I guess, who can really help us at this moment is Gandhi. And not Gandhi as a nationalist leader. Please remember that, I'm repeating that. Not reading Gandhi as a historian. The moment you read Gandhi as a historian, you will start telling me, no, between these two, this kind of relation was there, or you will start reading the text with hermeneutics and say, no, this sentence means this, it doesn't mean that. Don't read like that. Read Gandhi as a philosopher, engage with Gandhi as a philosopher, and ask him these questions that you have today in your mind. See what are the answers coming. If he gives you any relevant answer, I think that will be interesting. So let me take one by one. And another 15 minutes? It's fine? Okay. So the first question, crisis of capitalism. How do we rethink of our relation with nature? What does Gandhi say? What a marvelous statement he gave. Nature has enough for need, but not for greed. He rejects the idea of greed in one go. If you are greedy, nature cannot give you sufficient. So how to rebuild a civilization based on need, not based on greed? That's the basic idea, the first thing. So that can reconstitute our relation with nature. That can tell us that we may accumulate the wealth, but that wealth is not our own. Whose wealth it is? We are only the trustee of that. I mean, even if I agree with Locke or Adam Smith, they would say that nature belongs to everybody. So whatever you have accumulated is theft actually, unless you give it back to the common good. So Gandhi is very clear about it, that you should engage with nature, extract from this, and leave for others. Because everybody is dependent on nature. You don't have right to accumulate beyond a point. So that's the first thing. The second thing, the crisis of relationality. I think human beings are relational beings. We are relational beings. We seek our meaning only in relation with other human beings. So Gandhi is very clear about it, that your life is not for yourself. He gives a clear formulation. He says that, look, one perspective suggests that you should give up your human concerns for your nation. You should give up the concern of the nation for your community. You should give up concern for the community for your family. And you should give up concern of the family for yourself. Yourself is at the center. Gandhi said this we have to alter completely. So I should give up my life for my family. to maintain the relationality. My family is less important than my community. I should live for my community. My nation is more important than my community. Humanity is more important than the nation. And global universal thinking is more important even than humanity. Let us think of preserving the universe. So reverse the entire order. I find it very relevant. I think that takes care of a lot of my problem. The obsession with the self. I jokingly say that if you see a photograph, a group photograph, what do? Search yourself in that. I mean, my wife has done a very interesting thing. She has made a big album which has photograph of everybody, but then 90% photograph belongs to her. So I asked her, why did you do this? She said, no, people will start looking for themselves, but actually look for me also somewhere. Otherwise, they will never see my album. But this is the condition. I'm just joking. This is the condition that we are into. Gandhi says, no, you are the other. You are the other. You know, I'm amazed to read a text, and you should read that text if you want to engage with Gandhi, is Manu Gandhi's diary. You know, Manu Gandhi was the girl with whom he was experimenting with celibacy and sexuality. A lot of controversy has been there about their relationship. How can he do that? And the moral force really keep arguing against that. Feminists keep arguing against that. I'm not doubting whatever debate is going on. That can go, that's one side. But I'm amazed to see this text, the way this man is thinking. You know what he's saying? What he's telling Manu? He says, Manu, we are doing a very important experiment. What is the core of the experiment? The core of the experiment is that can I think like a mother? If human beings can think like a mother, then only the humanity is saved. It's only the mother who has capacity to love people unconditionally. To begin with the child, and then that can be expanded further. Can that feeling be generated in every human being? And look at this, imagine the situation. This old man, after freedom struggle, being so popular, worldwide known, decides to go to Noakhali, where people are not ready to live together. Fighting, killing each other, worst violence. And he goes there alone with Manu and one more person. And then Birlaji sends entire fleet for him, that he will be taken care of. And he returns the whole thing saying that no, this is my yajna. I have to sacrifice my life in this. And keeps telling Manu, we can be killed anytime. I have no control on the mob, on the situation. I feel very depressed when I see that even in my presence, people want to fight. I thought that I have elevated myself to the level that if I am present, there will be no violence, like Buddha. Remember Buddha's Onglimal, that my presence could stop them. So I am looking for what is lacking in me, not in them. What is lacking in me that even in my presence there is a kind of violence. I am surprised. Now this is the kind of man, ready to die, minimum to survive. You know, somebody said that Gandhi's simplicity is very costly. Who said? Sarojini Naidu probably said that. That state has to. But look at this text. Where is the cost involved in that? Wherever he went, one person who traveled with him would make a pern kuti, bare minimum. The only luxury in that pern kuti was a toilet. But that was, he kept advocating that there should be a toilet in every house. So he kept a toilet. That's the only luxury. Once Nehru and Patel both were supposed to arrive there. And Gandhi was a little worried. Patel to so jayega mere saath. Kahin bhi so jayega. Nehru kya karega? So he told Manu that Manu, when Nehru comes, and he was out to meet people, he told Manu, when Nehru comes, give my bed to him and give the I'll ask him to use my toilet. Of course, Nehru reaches and he says, no, nobody can use Gandhi's toilet in bed. I will sit on the floor. Don't worry. I will sleep on the floor. Don't worry. That is the man. Where is the cost involved? And the man is ready to die for something that he believes in. What does he believe in? That human beings, if they fight in one realm, other realms will be simply the same, like same. If you fight at the level of nation, you will fight at the level of community. If you fight at the level of community, you will fight in the family. If you fight in the family, you will fight in your individual life. Finally, you will be alienated. What a wonderful understanding he had. That there's the logic of this fight. It is not important against whom you are fighting. You are imbibing that logic of fighting. So what you have to give up is that logic of fighting. That you have to believe in unconditional love so that the fight is not there at any level. And if you don't fight at that level, you will be a very peaceful person. Your inside, you will be very peaceful. The depression that we are suffering from today is the reason for that is that we have reversed the process. There is no satisfaction. You know, this very famous Marxist theory of alienation, which I find so relevant that it talks about. So we have left out those basic idea of being a human, being a relational human, where my survival depends on your survival. So Gandhi suggests that this is something that we have to regain. That as a philosopher, I think Gandhi is providing most powerful epistemological attack on the modern Western philosophy, which is based on so much of individualism. That individual is the core of the idea. I don't need to say more about this to you. The second thing, so this is my first point, that Gandhi is relevant. My first point was that Gandhi is relevant for reconstituting our relation with nature. Very relevant. You have to philosophically engage with Gandhi to see how do we re-establish our relation with nature. Second one is, how do we reclaim ourselves as relational being? We have lost that relationality. We have lost the trust. I think one of the most under-theorized, under-philosophized concept is trust. What we are suffering from today is a loss of trust. We don't have trust in our parents, we don't have trust in the state, we don't have trust in leaders, we don't have trust in ourselves. We have no trust in ourselves. We keep fluctuating. So that trust Gandhi wants to reclaim. The relational being and the trust Gandhi wants to reclaim. That's the first thing. Second thing. Third thing that Gandhi, I think, we should approach Gandhi. How do you mobilize people? What a mobilization he could do. Huge number of people. I mean, I don't find any leader capable of mobilizing like him. Look at these people who are talking of Swaraj these days. The concept they are taking from Gandhi, but not their behavioral pattern. Be it Yogendra Yadav or be it Kejriwal or be it Prashant Kishore or Anna Hazare, anybody. People are looking for anybody who can even give a bit of reflection of Gandhi, and people will be with them. What a trust he built in people. How did he do that? What kind of leadership it was? I sometimes get amazed. Chauri Chaura, you remember? He was sitting inside, a lot of people were sitting there. He withdrew the movement. All the top leaders were sitting and telling him, Gandhi, what are you doing? Don't withdraw the movement. We are almost on the verge of getting independence. Gandhi said, no, I want to withdraw. Why? Meri Atma ki awaaz hai. Finish. What is important here is, nobody dared to defy Gandhi. Why they could not dare to defy Gandhi? Because Gandhi was in the heart of people. How did he reach in the heart of people? Irfan Habib writes a very interesting article on Gandhi. He says that, look, what is amazing for me is, how could he reach to the heart of people? And I think what my left friend does not understand is that he could reach to the heart of people because he addressed the questions of people. He read the mind of people. And he engaged with people's mind in their own vocabulary. I don't want to go into that. But the point is that probably leadership tomorrow, and your generation may take over that gradually, will have to learn from Gandhi how to lead the masses, how to mobilize them, how to retain your agency. Look at this man, when he comes from South Africa, पटेल से उससे कौन सुनने जाएगा यार, बात करोगे तो बकरी की बात करेगा, इसकी बात करेगा. I don't want to talk to him. I mean, if you watch Gandhi film, and then everybody started following him. You know what was the core idea? The core idea, if you have seen Gandhi movie, you must watch that movie carefully. Gandhi, when he enters in the scene, what happens? All top leaders are sitting there, Jinnah, Nehru and everybody, in somebody's drawing room. I guess it's Jinnah's drawing room. And Gandhi, everybody is waiting for Gandhi to come. Gandhi, after returning from his India tour, arrives there. By then he changed his dress, half dhoti and all that. And the first thing he does, he takes the tray from the hand of the waiter. I mean, that image I can't forget. And then he says, as long as there is an inequality between me and him, we can't fight against the inequality that Britishers have created. So what you are doing with every human being today is more important than what you are doing against the state. You have to change yourself. All this have the same logic. That logic Gandhi, I think, gives very nicely, and that is what people have to see from him. The fourth point, this techno-authoritarian state, it will become more authoritarian. More we are out from the job market, more we will protest, more there will be techno-authoritarian angle to that. So if you write a small thing on the Facebook, you will be arrested. You write a small book, you will be arrested. Yogendra Yadav said a very nice thing yesterday. He said that my all Hindi writings have been blocked. I can't write in Hindi newspaper anymore. I'm only allowed to write in English newspaper. Because people are not reading English newspaper mostly, common people. So there is no problem for that. So anything you write that influences people's mind, anything you speak that influences people's mind, there is a possibility that you will be silenced. Remember, I'm not talking of India. Please make your horizon bigger. Even in US, Europe, everywhere this is happening today. So what will then we do? I'm sure human beings have protested against slavery. We have protested against colonialism. Probably they were the worst situations. And we will protest against this also. Humanity cannot take it for granted that large number of them are living with least resources. This 1% versus 99% cannot survive for long. There is no need to have, it's not a rocket science, simple logic. It has never happened in history, it will never happen in history again. It will happen in future again. People will protest. Then who is the leader who can give you the technique of protest? Who will give you? Tell me. We can't go back to Marx. He has no technique of protest actually. The only technique that other people adopted in his name was so violent. And violence, Gandhi is so intelligent at that time. He could understand that violence, the monopoly on violence, who has the monopoly on violence? The state. The state can do anything and that is legal. You do anything, it is illegal. And therefore, to fight against the state, you cannot resort to violence. History has proved that several times, with the modern state particularly. Look at Sri Lanka. I recently went to Sri Lanka, talking to people. The anxiety that happened after the end of the violence is they have imbibed that in their psyche. If you read little bit their mind, you will find that tension in them. Punjab, so much of anxiety. I did a project on conflict and institutional change in India, so had a chance to travel to conflict zones. Can you imagine Kashmir? I met a psychiatrist long back, 2003. He told me that before the conflict, he used to have around 50% patients a year. And now he is having 500 patients every month. Where does this violence hit? It hits on your psyche. So probably Gandhi is very intelligent. He says that you have to be very cautious about it. Because the violence is a culture. The culture of violence is very dangerous. And then at this moment, the state is so powerful that it can take care of the violence. You just say one thing about the violence, you are finished. So therefore, we have to go back. And if you look at the range of movements in last 50 years or 60 years, one philosopher who have really guided most of the movements is Gandhi. You start from South Africa to Black Lives Matters to anything you want to say. Everywhere you will find echo of Gandhi. In fact, very surprisingly, I wanted to mention that if anybody of you watches serial, Pakistani serial called मैं मंटो तो नहीं, अरे ज़रूर देखो यार, कमाल का सीरियल है ये. It's a wonderful serial. Of course, it's about a love affair between a teacher and a student, but that is not important. What is important is the idea of non-violence. So I'm wondering, I used to raise this question, that Gandhi was part of the Pakistan society also. Is Gandhi completely absent from Pakistan society now? And I got the answer. No. Look at this serial. You will realize that how Gandhi's shadow is there in such a violent society. Gandhi is surviving and telling people that violence is not an answer to any question. Let us see.
Also, many talks recently happening in Lahore University. I have the private
right.
So, nice talks on Gandhi.
So this is very interesting to see how Gandhi is becoming relevant. You know, I was in London in this, what is that park called, where a lot of statues are there, and I discovered a lot of young children coming and having selfie with Gandhi. So I asked the teacher that are they South Asian students or are you teaching them Gandhi? They said no, we don't know why they are interested in Gandhi. Nobody knows. I think new generation is reimagining the idea of Gandhi. I was talking to some MP from Nepal after Gen Z revolution. I was very disappointed why they got into violence. He said that no, they were very Gandhian. The violence was done by somebody else. That's what they are investigating. So probably the next movement in the world, any political movement in the world today and in future will have to learn from Gandhi. How to mobilize people, how to restrain oneself, how not to use violence, how to make the state completely surrender, a powerful state to surrender before people. That technique probably Gandhi developed, and therefore we need to engage with it. I'm not saying it's a foolproof technique. I'm not saying that, and there's a misnomer, let me give a disclaimer. Gandhi never said, go on Ansan for everything. He was a very intelligent person also. He knew what time his Ansan will work, his fasting will work, and what time it will not work. He was not a fool. He was a very intelligent person. He was a very politically trained strategist. So he was, I think, Gandhi's biggest philosophical contribution to the world can be summarized in two words: ethical realism. He combined ethics and realism together. That's the beauty of him. He combined these two things together. So he was very realist when he was taking any position, but he knew that ethics is as real as anything else. Therefore, he used that ethics to evolve his own agency. And he had the agency to do things. That is the beauty of Gandhi. The last point I want to make, and that's kind of disclaimer. There could be hundreds of problems with Gandhi. Gandhi himself acknowledges that. He is an evolving philosopher. So don't expect that Gandhi at the age of 30 was against caste, will be against. Why was he not against caste at the age of 30? Why was he so patriarchal when he was in South Africa? He could be. But the point is that see how he evolved in the process. Where did he arrive in the process? And that evolution process, I think, is complete by now. The text about that is complete by now if you read Manu Gandhi's diary. If you start with Manu Gandhi's diary and go back, you will really find how this man has really evolved himself. And evolved to that level where he suggests that what can save humanity is politics of unconditional love. It's very utopian, but probably that is the utopia that humanity needs to work at this moment. It is very dangerous, I am told. Some people are telling me what I am suggesting is very dangerous. Could be dangerous. All utopias are dangerous. Utopias have killed more people than anything else. We die for utopia, isn't it? We are ready to die for utopia. That's what Gandhi was suggesting. That you have a utopia, the guarantee that your utopia is good comes from your capacity to sacrifice your life. If you're ready for that, probably your utopia will survive one day. It will come up one day. It has happened all the time. So that is Gandhi. I suggest that, let me repeat, we need to reinvent Gandhi, go beyond the historical context, recontextualize Gandhi in contemporary times, start thinking of the problems that we are facing today, then start engaging with him, how many problems his philosophy can help us in solving. If not, abandon that idea. I mean, this is his method also. He himself adopted this kind of method with Gita and everything. So please do that. Thank you very much.